we're going to enjoy a video about Congresswoman Maxine Waters. We all love Maxine. Maxine, serve forever.
I'm Susan Suntree, the author of Sacred Sites, The Secret History of Southern California, which traces the origin of the Southern California landscape and the indigenous people's arrival and their lives here. And it's through this study that I learned about how significant and extraordinary the Ballona Valley is in the history of Los Angeles. And for this reason, I am so honored to thank Maxine Waters, a congresswoman from the 43rd District, which embraces most of the Ballona Valley. When in the building of Playa Vista, the largest cemetery ever discovered in Los Angeles, and maybe in all of Southern California or California, was discovered, and the whistleblower Jordan David, who was a Tongva man who was working in the site, called out what a travesty was happening there. Maxine responded. She marched down to the site and saw what was going on, called attention to it, set up an outcry, and this brought in the New York Times, NPR, and finally the Los Angeles Times to report on it, and for people to attempt to do something about it. This paved the way for Bill Rosendahl, when he was elected, to actually step in and negotiate the repatriation of those burials. So we are so thankful to Maxine. She is a great gift to the cultural history, the environmental history, and all the people of Southern California. Thank you, Maxine.
I just had the most remarkable experience of my lifetime. This development literally has dug into what I believe is a gravesite. What goes into those buckets? They told us they discovered something in the neighborhood of 10 burials here, and I was able to see 2 of them where you could see the head and the knees and the body, basically the skeletons in the fetal position. But this is going on unnoticed practically. You're down there. I mean, I'd like to ask the workers, how do they feel digging up the bones? It's absolutely unbelievable that right here in the middle of the city, this is going on and people are just so unaware of it. It has to be exposed.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so very much. I am so honored to be here this evening. And as I witness the work of so many of my friends and so many of you in this room, I feel as if whatever I have contributed does not even compare with so much that has been done to save the Ballona Wetlands. When I finally received Westchester and this part of my district after reapportionment, I learned an awful lot. I learned an awful lot about not only the airport and how we had to make sure that footprint did not get expanded. And the coalition that worked together to protect the homes and protect the environment. But I learned an awful lot about the Ballona Wetlands. And I had the opportunity to tour and to learn. But what you just saw in that video was something that absolutely taught me that we must pay attention to and respect the burials of the Tonga Gabrielino Indians who populated this area. What you did not see was the fact that when I finally got inspired to actually see what was going on, I crawled under the fence that surrounded the area that was being developed by Playa Vista went down the hill and absolutely saw Indians that were buried in fetal position. And you could see the necklaces that were still intact. And so I had to challenge in every way that I possibly could the fact that these sacred grounds, these burial grounds, were being violated, and call attention to it. And attention we did get. We got a lot of attention. Bill Rosendahl, where'd he go? There he is. I want to thank you for all that you did to make sure they were reinterred. But ladies and gentlemen, let me just say that we should never allow this to happen anytime, any place, and anywhere. We must have more respect for those who have been buried, for these so-called cemeteries as we refer to them. And we must make sure that no matter how much money, how much power, how big the development is, et cetera, we have to push back. We have to say, no, this cannot happen. But I want you to know that the many people in this room who have contributed so much, I've worked with over the years in so many ways. It's not just about saving the Ballona Wetlands. It's not simply about exposing the burial grounds and what's happening there and what was being done. The very same people who were involved in this kind of effort are people who do good progressive work all the time on so many great issues. I want you to know, Gary Walker, you've done some great articles. I want you to know that you do articles about things that other people wouldn't pay any attention to. You took care of the people at Mar Vista when in fact they couldn't get any mail, that the post office said they weren't going in there anymore. And because of the work that you did, and Rosendahl's call to me and the work that we did, we said, oh yeah, people are going to get mail. They're going to get it delivered to them. They're not going to be treated this way. And I want to thank you for the work that you did to take care of the least of these. The least of these. Thank you so very much. Lila, Garrett, and I go back 100 years. I am 101 and she's 102. Lila Garrett is a fearless advocate. She's a daring person who created a platform and a voice for progressives to be able to talk about our issues. And I want to tell you that I have done her show so many times over the years. But what's interesting about her and the way that she interviews you, she makes you say what you didn't even intend to say. As a matter of fact, every time I did an interview, I got into more trouble because I told the truth. And in telling the truth, I was able to expose something or somebody. Lila made me do it. But I want to thank you for keeping me honest and making sure that I did not get socialized in such a way, being in the halls of Congress, that I forget about how to really talk about the real issues. That's Lila Garrett. Thank her very much. I can't say enough about Bill Rosendahl. One of the things that I've always loved about him is his passion. His passion and the way that he communicates. He gives himself permission to talk about whatever the hell he wants to talk about, whenever he wants to talk about it, in whatever way that he wants to talk about it. I did his shows long before he was elected to office. And I was so pleased when he was elected to office because I knew what he was going to do. I knew what he was going to be about, and he did not in any way disappoint. He led and he made sure that progressive issues were on the agenda of the Los Angeles City Council. And I want to thank you for that. And I also want to thank you for the fresh eggs that you gave me that your chickens laid at your house, in your yard. I visited his home and I've been to the chicken coops in the back, and I had a chance to sit with him in his living room and reminisce and talk. And I love you, Bill. Thank you for being you. We all love you so very, very much. But I really need to congratulate the Ballona Institute for the tireless advocacy for the Ballona Wetlands in Bluffs. Your dedication to protect this beautiful ecosystem is truly admirable. My staff said to me, maybe I shouldn't say too much about how you beat the hell out of the Annenberg Project. But we just have to give you credit for the victory. We just have to give you credit for the victory. I want to thank you for having the audacity to stand up against a lot of power and a lot of money. You know, people like yourselves who love the environment, who love nature, who are willing to fight for it, you're not asking for anything. You're only getting the pleasure and the honor for protecting the environment and for loving the birds and the owls and even the wolves and on and on and on. You know, I work in Washington, D.C. with people who take credit for everything. They take credit for all that they do and all that they don't do. And most of it has nothing to do with loving humanitarianism, has nothing to do with really loving anything. It's about what can I get for myself? How can I get another perk? How can I move up another notch? How can I get recognized even for that I don't deserve to be recognized for? So when I'm in an environment like this, and I wish I could be more, I hate to go back to Washington on Monday, but we have to go. Well, you know, I've got to go, and you know, and perhaps it's okay that I go back after an event like this because I get so inspired, I feel like I can take on all of the Tea Party, everybody in the Tea Party, take them all on. Where is our champion for tonight? All of the folks, all of our champions. The Ballona Institute board members and community advisors. Roy Van de Hoop, President. Susan Suntree, Jane Ann Jeffries, Andonine Ken Swoop, Elise Hicks, Joanne Gaines, Rose Mahardy, and of course, Marcia Hanscom, Executive Director. Angie Barons, but Marcia, a special word for you, a special thank you. Not many people will take on this kind of challenge as life's work. You have taken on this challenge. You have been a leader. You've been fearless. You've brought us all together, and I want to thank you for honoring us. I want to thank you for the daily work that you do. I want to thank you for understanding that no matter how many organizations are out there doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that and saying they care about the wetlands and on and on and on, and some we have to question, this institute stands tall. You have done what no other has done. We love you, we appreciate you, and the animals and the birds love you too. Thank you so very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as I have began to learn so much about the Tonga Gabrielino Indians, there's a lot for all of us to learn about how they populated not only this area, but such a vast part of LA County and Orange County, just a huge areas that they occupied. But I wanted my husband to stop the car, so I wanted to show him something as we came down Lincoln. But I didn't really ask him because he tells me sometimes, you're crazy, I'm not going to do that. But the reason that I wanted him to do it was because I am always thrilled at such a little thing. And that is, if you've never done it before, go down and look very closely because there's sage that's planted, and you can pick it and you can smell it. And it was planted by the Indians who populated this area. The strength of that, just think, the length of time that it has grown and regrown and regrown, and it smells just as strongly as it probably did many, many years ago. So my husband didn't stop. He missed the smell of the state sage, but perhaps he'll do it sometime in the future. Thank you all very much.
And thank you, Maxine. Amazing speech. She's gorgeous. I love her.